Some people walk into a room and go completely unnoticed. Others don't even have to say a word. Heads turn, energy shifts, not because of how they look, but because of something deeper, a presence, a force, an aura. Carl Jung understood this rare energy. He believed it wasn't about charisma or status, but about how deeply someone has integrated their unconscious mind. This video isn't about trends or fake positivity. It's about something much more powerful, something invisible but undeniable, an aura so rare it unsettles people, not because it's dark, but because it's real. Most people are afraid of being seen, but those with this aura, they've already seen themselves, and it changes everything. So here are 6 psychological signs that your aura is different, rare, raw, and unforgettable, and what Jung would say that truly means. Sign 1, you carry stillness in a loud world. You're not the loudest in the room. You don't need to be. Your silence says more than most people shouting. This stillness isn't shyness, it's anchoring. You listen more than you speak. You watch everything. You feel everything. And people notice it. They sense your calm like it's a threat or a challenge. Why? Because you don't match the chaos around you. You don't react the way people expect. You hold your ground. Jung would say this stillness isn't passive. It's the result of shadow work. You've sat with your fear. You faced your darkness. And now you don't need noise to prove your worth. Stillness is your power. That rare aura you carry, it doesn't come from being above the world. It comes from being beneath it, rooted in something solid, something eternal. People feel that, even if they can't explain it. Sign 2, you intimidate people without trying. You walk into a room and something changes. People get quieter. They glance, then look away. They either pull toward you or pull back. Not because you're aggressive, but because you're awake. Jung believed that when someone integrates the unconscious, they gain a kind of psychic gravity, a presence that others feel but can't define. This kind of energy disrupts the masks that most people wear. You're not playing the game. You're not performing. You don't need approval. And that unsettles people. Because when you see through illusion, you force others to confront their own. You reflect back what they're avoiding, their fear, insecurity, jealousy, or projection. That's why you may be misunderstood. Why some people instantly dislike you, not because of what you did, but because of what you represent. Jung once said, "The meeting of 2 personalities is like the contact of 2 chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." When people come into contact with your aura, something inside them reacts, sometimes with fascination, sometimes with fear. But they never forget you. These first 2 signs aren't about ego. They're about integration. You don't force energy, you hold it. You don't seek the spotlight, it finds you. And that's the start of understanding what a rare aura truly is. Not something you create, but something you uncover. Once you've done the inner work most people never dare to face. Sign 3, you absorb the emotions of a room. You can walk into a place and feel what no one is saying. Tension, resentment, attraction, anxiety. You pick it all up, like a human antenna. You might have been told you're too sensitive, but Jung would call you intuitively attuned. Because what most people ignore, suppress, or rationalize, you register. This is not weakness. This is a kind of psychic depth. You're tuned into the unconscious field, what Jung called the collective unconscious, the invisible web of emotional energy that surrounds every human interaction. That's why crowded spaces exhaust you, why small talk feels draining, why fake people leave you cold. Your aura is like a mirror. It reflects back the hidden energy in others. And that makes people uncomfortable. Because when someone feels seen, they have 2 choices: open up or run away. You've probably had strangers confess things to you out of nowhere, or people project their insecurities onto you without understanding why. It's because your presence amplifies what's unspoken. But here's the danger. If you don't learn how to manage this gift, you'll drown in other people's emotions. You'll confuse their pain with your own. You'll carry burdens that were never yours to hold. Jung said, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." You've awakened to emotional realities most people can't even name. But to survive with this aura, you need boundaries as much as you need depth. You must learn to witness energy without absorbing it. That's how you protect the rarity of your gift. Sign 4. You attract both deep admiration and sudden resentment. If you have this rare aura, you've probably seen it before. Some people are drawn to you instantly. They admire your depth. They respect your insight. They say you get them like no one else does. But others, they turn cold. They challenge you. They try to belittle or compete with you, even if you said nothing at all. Why? Because your presence triggers people. You're not even trying, but you represent something they haven't faced in themselves. Maybe it's confidence, maybe it's emotional depth, maybe it's the fact that you move through life on your own terms. And for someone who's been pretending, that's threatening. This is what Jung called the shadow projection. When someone hasn't integrated their own shadow, they project it onto others. They see in you what they deny in themselves. Your strength reminds them of their cowardice. Your clarity makes them feel lost. Your peace highlights their chaos. And because they don't understand it, they turn it against you. That's why you attract strong reactions. People either idealize you or resent you. There's rarely neutrality. But don't let this shake you. Your aura isn't here to make everyone comfortable. It's here to reveal truth, sometimes through friction. And the truth is, some people are not ready for the energy you carry. And that's not your fault. Jung wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. You've accepted parts of yourself that others still repress, so you become a living reminder of what's possible or what's still missing. That's why your energy lingers, why people remember you long after you're gone, why even silence from you feels loud. You're not just present, you're disruptive in the most sacred sense." Sign 5. You've inherited emotional wounds that aren't yours. You've carried weight since childhood, but it didn't all start with you. You felt things no one talked about. You noticed tension your family pretended wasn't there. You sensed the pain behind the smiles. This isn't imagination. It's generational transmission. Jung believed we inherit not only physical traits, but psychic material. What wasn't resolved by your parents, your grandparents, often reemerges in you, not because you're cursed, but because you're capable of confronting what they couldn't, capable of feeling what they avoided, capable of breaking the pattern, if you're willing to face it. If you have a rare aura, it's not just your personal experience that shaped it. It's your ancestral one. You carry the echoes of those who came before you, the fears they didn't name, the grief they buried, the dreams they abandoned. You don't just have deep feelings. You house them, you witness them, you transform them. But this comes with responsibility, because if you don't process what was passed down, it festers. It turns into self-sabotage, chronic guilt, unexplained sadness. Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Your rare aura isn't random. It's the product of a lineage and your willingness to become the one who wakes up. Sign 6. You feel both misunderstood and deeply called. You've always felt different. Not better, not broken. Just not like most people. While others chase distraction, you seek meaning. While others avoid silence, you crave it. While others fear being alone, you come alive in solitude. You often find yourself standing on the edges, watching, seeing the patterns, sensing the lies, noticing what's real beneath what's fake. And sometimes that makes you feel isolated, like you were dropped into a world that isn't designed for people like you. But here's the deeper truth Jung understood. That kind of alienation is a sign of initiation. You're not here to fit in. You're here to awaken and to help others do the same. People with rare auras often live with this paradox. You feel deeply alone, yet feel deeply called to speak, to create, to protect, to challenge, to heal. You don't always know why, but something inside you keeps whispering, there's more. You're here for more. Jung saw this as the beginning of the individuation process. The moment you stop being a mirror of others and start becoming a mirror of the soul, this rare aura you carry, it's not a gift you asked for. It's a burden you've earned through suffering, through reflection, through choosing truth again and again, when illusion would have been easier. And now, people sense it, not with their minds, but with their instincts. They feel your presence, because it carries something almost extinct in this world: awareness, integrity, depth, realness. That's why you can't be ignored. That's why you can't fake small talk. That's why people feel seen or exposed in your presence, because you've walked into yourself, and most people are still running away. The psychology behind a rare aura. Carl Jung didn't talk about aura in the mystical sense, but he did describe something just as powerful. A presence that emerges when the unconscious is integrated. A kind of radiance that comes not from light, but from depth. See, most people only show their persona, the mask they wear to fit in, be liked, succeed. But behind that persona is the shadow, the repressed, chaotic, emotional part of us that holds the truth we hide from others and from ourselves. The rare aura forms when a person stops living from their mask and begins living from their wholeness. That means confronting the shadow. It means sitting in grief without numbing. It means owning your desires without shame. It means accepting your flaws without excuse. When you do that, your energy changes. You stop leaking neediness. You stop radiating insecurity. You stop depending on others to validate you. And instead, you start carrying a kind of inner gravity. People feel it, even if they can't explain it. They respect you without knowing why. They hesitate to lie to you. They soften around you, or they attack. But either way, they respond, because you are no longer energetically asleep. You are no longer a mirror of the world. You are a mirror to the world. Jung would call this the result of individuation, the process of becoming a psychologically whole human being. And here's the brutal truth. Most people never get there. They stay addicted to distraction. They avoid confrontation with the self. They live in loops, seeking status, approval, or pleasure, never realizing what they're truly running from is themselves. But the few who go inward, the ones who confront the unconscious and integrate their fear, they become something else entirely. They stop being influenced. They start influencing, not with noise, but with presence, not with performance, but with truth. Why the world reacts to you differently. If you carry this aura, you've probably noticed, people confide in you, even strangers. People either love you or avoid you, no in between. You trigger reactions that feel disproportionate. That's because most people aren't reacting to you. They're reacting to the part of themselves you awaken. Your energy becomes a mirror for their unconscious. And just like Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The problem is, most people don't want to understand themselves. They'd rather blame. They'd rather distance themselves from what they're not ready to face. So your stillness feels like judgment. Your presence feels like a challenge. Your peace feels like pressure, because it reminds them they haven't found their own. And that's okay. Your aura is not for everyone. It's not supposed to be. It's not a performance. It's a consequence of the work you've done, the pain you've faced, the illusions you've burned, the silence you've endured, and the self you've finally claimed. The price of carrying a rare aura. A rare aura isn't just a gift, it's a responsibility. Because the more self-aware you become, the more sharply you feel the disconnection in others. The lies, the avoidance, the emotional noise. You can't go back to normal. You can't pretend to enjoy surface conversations. You can't numb out like you used to. And in that sense, the rare aura isolates you, but it also elevates you. It calls you to something higher, not externally, but internally. Not to impress, but to integrate. Jung believed that when you awaken to the unconscious, you gain access to more than just insight. You gain access to power, but not power over others. Power over your own energy, to hold yourself in the storm, to carry stillness into chaos, to walk into noise and not be shaken. That's what people sense in you, even if they don't understand it. That's what makes your presence rare. How to protect it. If you don't protect this kind of energy, it will get drained, fast. Because the world is full of people who will unconsciously try to extract your clarity, while offering you nothing but confusion in return. Here's what Jung would say to someone with a rare aura. Withdraw regularly. Not to hide, but to recharge. Solitude isn't optional for you. It's essential. That's where you reconnect with yourself. Guard your attention. You can't consume what the masses do. What entertains them will dilute you. Your inner clarity must be protected from mental pollution. Speak less, observe more. Let others reveal themselves. Your words have weight. Don't waste them trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. Don't explain your energy. Most people don't have the language or the emotional capacity to meet you where you are. That's not arrogance, that's awareness. Continue the work. You're not done. The rare aura isn't a badge. It's a path, a process, a fire that must be fed with truth, discipline, and silence. The final truth. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But most people never claim that privilege. They settle, they pretend, they project. You didn't. You went deeper. And that's why you feel what others don't, why you see what others can't, why your very presence affects a room. Is not about mysticism. It's about mastery of self, of emotion, of presence. Your aura is rare because it's earned. Through pain, through insight, through the refusal to live asleep. And now, you walk differently. You listen differently. You love differently. Not everyone will understand it, but those who are ready will feel it. Because when someone with a rare aura enters the room, you don't just notice them, you remember them. If this resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who feels different, someone who might be walking this path alone, not realizing the power they carry. And if you felt these signs in yourself, then you already know. Your journey isn't to fit in, it's to wake up. And the next step starts in the next video.